Talk Radio. Now, a waiter in a seaside restaurant in northern Italy told the local mayor to leave because the mayor turned up for dinner wearing shorts. He said he was sitting at a table on the terrace with his friends when a waiter approached and, quote, looking embarrassed, he told me that as I wasn't wearing long trousers, I could no longer remain in the restaurant. Well, joining me on the line now is Grant Harrold, the Royal Butler and etiquette expert. A very good evening to you, Grant.
Good evening, John.
Now, really, should a chap turn up to dine showing his pins?
Well, do you know, I'm so happy with this. I think the restaurant should be given an award for actually sticking to the dress code. I think if you're going out for a meal and you're going somewhere, it's always worth double checking what the dress code is, because some restaurants can be, if we can say, a little bit more fussy than others. And unfortunately for the mayor, he obviously had the shorts were not what was supposed to be worn.
But he was on the terrace. Doesn't it make a difference? I always assume terraces are a little bit more informal. If you go inside, it's formal. But if you're outside in the fresh air, it's a bit more lax.
Absolutely. I mean, as we know, some restaurants even allow you to take doggies if as long as you sit outside. And I know what you mean, that if you're outside,
and they're wearing nothing at all.
Exactly. They're naked, God forbid, unless you've got some decent little clothes for them. But no, the thing is with dress codes is, and I'll use Ascot as a fantastic example at the Royal Enclosure. Whether you're inside or outside, you've always got to have the correct attire. You've always got to have the jacket on. You've always got to have your top hat. And again, I know this isn't that. We're talking about a restaurant in Italy. But again, if there's a dress code in situ, it normally does apply to wherever that might be. And I mean, it is quite extraordinary because not many restaurants normally turn you away. I mean, I do know one or two in the UK that certainly do turn you away if you don't wear a tie, for example.
Yes, I've been turned away from a gentleman's club in London for not wearing a tie. I was wearing a polo neck, and what happened was that they went into a box and allowed me to choose a tie. So I chose the biggest, broadest kipper tie from the 1970s that I could find, and I tied it round my polo neck, and then I went into the party, and it looked, of course, utterly absurd, as I intended it to do. And after a wee while, they came up to me and said, "Sir, on reflection, perhaps it would be better if you took the tie off."
I think they should have offered you a shirt at least as well. I mean, to offer you a tie,
I wouldn't want to wear someone else's shirts. Can you imagine?
Well, it'd be quite nice if they had maybe a selection of some shirts that they buy in, and then they could maybe make a bit of money from it by selling people the shirts that they walk in. But sadly, yes, there is obviously dress codes in situ, and some restaurants or even hotels that you go to, I can think of one or two well-known ones, and if you turn up without a jacket or without the tie, they do turn you away. And I always say to my clients, or anybody that actually asks me, that if you're going somewhere, even if you think you know the dress code and you just think they're not going to notice, or I can wear shorts there because I've seen other people, it's always worth, just for whatever reason, just double checking so that it doesn't ruin your evening, because it's not a nice experience for you or anybody that you're with if the dress code is wrong.
Now, the shorts and shorts, there are big baggy Bermuda shorts, and they shouldn't be allowed anywhere. And then there's smarter shorts that you can wear as part of a suit.
I agree. Tailored, smart tailored shorts, and again, some places will actually allow you to obviously wear those. But again, it's up to the venue, and it depends who you are. And again, some places, it doesn't matter what the shorts look like, they'll turn you away. And I mean, it's the same with what you're wearing on your feet. I mean, obviously, if you walk in without anything on, you might get turned away. But at the same time, I mean, when people wear these Crocs, I mean, good God, when people talk about Crocs, I expect it to be something from a freshwater animal reserve, or flip-flops, which again, to me, is something that you get in a seafood restaurant. So you want a pair of nice sandals or boat shoes, something that looks appropriate. But again, it's worth just double checking. And I have noted that if you go online, wherever you're going to, whatever restaurant it is, most of them do give you an idea of what the dress code is. And if you're not sure, just pick up the phone and just say to them,
"Can I show my legs?
Can I show my legs?"
Now, I can't help but notice your accent, Grant. And you're Scottish like me.
I am.
Are we given exemption from this? First, for two obvious reasons. First of all, because our legs tend to be more attractive than the average person's. And also, on top of that, obviously, because our national dress involves showing your legs.
Exactly.
So had you and I turned up at this restaurant in Italy wearing a kilt, and showing our legs, we could have been asked to leave. And frankly, that would have been racism.
Well, do you know, possibly, do you know what's interesting about the kilt? And you've probably noticed this. When you go overseas, I mean, I've been overseas quite a few times, and I normally take the kilt with me if it's something that's more formal. And it's extraordinary because I've gone recently, a couple of years ago, I was invited to a wedding in Germany, and I took the kind of evening wear. I took, they wanted to be quite smart, so we had suits and things. And I also took the kilt, just in case. And I said to my host, I said, look, obviously we're in Scotland, I'd be wearing a kilt, but very happy to wear the suit. And they were horrified that I wasn't going to wear the kilt.
Yes.
And they were insistent that it had to be worn. So the interesting thing with the kilt is we get away a little bit with kilts.
I know, but the other thing I think you'll probably find after the wedding, the bride was probably furious. Brides say in principle that they want you to wear the kilt abroad. But what actually happens is you turn up in the wee piazza in Italy and the bride comes out and then you come out and then all the photographers turn away from the bride and they all start photographing the Scottish man in the kilt.
It's Rob Roy's arrived.
Exactly, it is. It's almost cheating to get attention.
But see, you're quite right, and that's the other thing, is that obviously for the bride and the big day, the most important thing for everybody is not to take attention away, and that's why when I was invited to that wedding, I was very insistent. And you're quite right, the photographers did want to do the pictures, and I refused. I kept out the way, but there was one or two of them where they actually did ask me. The actual families did say, please come and stand with us. I felt like a bit like a mascot or something.
So you were having to hide in order that the bride got attention?
I didn't want to kind of draw attention when I realised that I was the only one that was wearing a kilt.
Yeah.
So I kind of decided to kind of keep out of the way. But as I said, they wanted me to kind of be part of it. They wanted me to be in the pictures. And as I said, I was very diplomatic how I dealt with it.
I go on holiday to Greece every year. And do you know something I notice is creeping in that I just don't like, which is people having their dinner topless. Men.
Oh, I know. And this
have you noticed that?
I have. And again, I say to people that unfortunately the thing is, John, the gentlemen in question, when they go out and they take the top off, and I think they visualise a scene from Baywatch, and for the rest of us, it's a scene from Crime Watch. That's the reality, and it's awful. And again, you're in that situation of who's going to say something, especially, God forbid, it's somebody in your party, and then you've got to kind of ask them to cover up.
No, you need to have a very good chest to expose it over dinner, and even then I think it's slightly inappropriate. Well, but the Greeks are one of the few nationalities I know who undress for dinner.
True, and I think that's the other thing, is when you're in Europe, the dress codes are very different to here. And I think, and I might be wrong, but I think that's what was so interesting, the mayor in question, who was obviously told off and kind of shown the door. I think what was interesting is to see how strict they are over there with dress codes as much. Yes. I expect it here, I really do, because it's something that we're quite famous for, as our dress codes and the way we behave. But over there, you wouldn't quite expect it in the restaurant in question. But as I said, it's fantastic that they've got a rule, they've got a principle, and it doesn't matter who it is, that's even more important. It doesn't matter who it is, they still stick to that rule.
I was in Austria recently for my holidays, and interestingly, the people there, the men, were wearing lederhosen, actually, for lunch. And I have to say, the sound of knee slapping was really quite distracting, because you're just getting ready for your soup. And there's this terrible sound of flesh on flesh.
Yeah, it's not exactly what you want to hear, is it? You wouldn't hear it at the Ritz, would you?
And nobody gets thrown out for it.
Well, I think again it's the kind of, it's the thing where if you're wearing a kind of national dress and it's a kind of tradition that other people don't mind, then it's fine. And that's it's the same as I mentioned earlier on with these establishments.
Yes, exactly.
If they're happy with that, then it's fine.
When in Rome. It is 28 minutes to 7, and that was Grant Harrold, who is the Royal